You got me?
Yeah, got you.
All right, cool. Perfect. Well, thank you very much for being on this call, Phil. It's an honor really to just been watching you for so long. Since 2018 is when I started to see where you were at with Joe DeFranco.
Yeah.
It's just been amazing to learn so much from you over time. Tell us a little bit about who you are for anybody that's watching that doesn't know.
Yeah, so my name is Phil DARU. Been a performance coach for about 12 years now. Been working with combat sport athletes, professional athletes for roughly 7 or 8 years. Was a professional fighter myself for 8 years. Played college football, was an athlete all my life, basically constantly testing myself in the gym, constantly testing myself physically, mentally, to get to a degree of, I wouldn't say uncomfortableness is like a new
Right.
word for me, right? That's what I want to put myself in at the point where I have to overcome obstacles, give myself the tactical and technical advantage, but also the mental advantage, the psychological advantage. And that's where the gym really comes into play. But utilizing that to help me catapult my career too as well, and give me the opportunity to work with like-minded individuals. So I've been able to work with, blessed to work with high level individuals, at the highest level of the sport, but also be able to give them the quality of knowledge and some understanding of where they need to go because of the situations that I put myself in. So that was where,
Right.
again, that's where the gym and everything else comes into play, but also just kind of testing yourself mentally,
Right.
from the fitness side, but also from the strength and conditioning side. There's a large amount that you can get out of testing yourself each and every day to allow for growth to occur. So that's where I really come into play when it comes down to my professionalism as a coach, and how I can communicate that with my athletes.
Like when you were, because we all start somewhere, right? We start in high school, lifting some weights, middle school, all that. And we start when we're younger on the street. Did you ever come to a point where you saw the switch between having fun as a kid to, I have to do this as homework and I have to get these things done and I have to go through this suffering right here?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing was that I've always wanted to put myself in those positions. So even
Okay.
though it sucked at the moment, I went after it. Like I pursued it. Like it was something that was always in me, since I was a kid. I believe that because it was instilled in me through my parents, especially my mother. She was the first female firefighter in her division. So
Wow.
I think I was like 4 years old, where I would watch her kind of get ready for that particular, testing that she had to
Wow.
do to get ready for it. And I would push her, obviously I'd have my bike and I'd ride my bike, and she would like jog right beside me, So it was a real cool thing to start my life with, and
Yeah.
understand, like, if you put in the effort, you're going to get out what you deserve. And so
Do,
for that, I think that I've always pursued that uncomfortable situation, to allow myself to grow and to evolve and adapt, to get stronger. To again, that's where I like strong, where the word Daru strong, like, it wasn't so much of like how much you can lift. It was really how much you can endure and how much you can overcome. And so, like, a lot of people think that I'm just trying to big time and like, oh, Daru strong, like you're trying, talking about how much you lift, or, how much weight you can put on the bar. But really, it's not like that. It's actually more from that psychological mindset, and allowing yourself to never let any situation stop you from becoming who you want to be,
yeah. I listened to a lot of your podcasts and just tracking your story. It was more about the world got heavy
Yeah.
more than the bar got heavy. And it was this quick snippet of it. You were an athlete, and then you went to college, but then you've had to quit stuff to make sure that you handled your personal stuff on the side, and you had to fight through the world getting heavy. You have to lift it through. That's Daru strong. But did you also see how other people around you, like your boys, like, just they didn't want to do that as homework? They didn't have that mentality of, hey, look, I know that you're trying to endure and just go for it because that's the honor that you look for in your soul. That's who you are. And then
Mhm.
others were like, nah, just do this because I want to go to the NFL or whatever. I'm just, it's too hard.
Yeah, like, we've had people like, I played with Jason Pierre-Paul, man. He played, obviously, he's a Super Bowl champion. He played for the Giants, Tampa Bay Bucks. Those guys, like, he put in the effort, but like super genetically gifted. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
super talented. And there's other guys in there that were really talented that didn't want to put in the work, that, you know, kind of went off of their genetic talent or whatever they, or their, you know, their abilities that they have. And they didn't make it too far. I mean, they made it to college. They were probably good in college, and then they got surpassed by the guys that would overwork them, right? So I never really ran in that circle of individuals. So I kept my circle very small with like-minded individuals that were willing to put out the effort, because those guys became family, and they still work with me till this day. Like my guy that does all my videos, he's been my best friend since I was 7, 8 years old. He still has the same mindset, you know. But there's been a lot more that I've had to overcome, and I haven't really said this like publicly, but there's been a lot, like especially like in high school and getting into trouble there, having to change schools and having to relocate basically, and to re-evolve into a person that I am today, and make better decisions, man. And I think that comes from, you know, going through situations and having those experiences and growing as an individual. But yeah, I never really put myself in the position to be around those individuals that were going to drag me down, because again, that right there, like Louis always says, Louis Simmons is one of my mentors, always said, you run with a lame, you develop a limp. So at the end of the day,
yeah,
I'm not trying to run with lames, you know, so I got to run with lions. And so everybody who works around me in my circle, they're all lions, man. We're no sheep over here.
That's amazing. And it's awesome because you have lions that are athletes, but then you have to also find yourself within the lions of being great coaches and strength and conditioning coaches and other specialty skill coaches that you have to work with within the athlete. But then also, for even further than that, the business, you know, side of it just becomes the same over and over. Endure, keep going, keep being strong. And it's not so much of the bar, or it's not so much how much money you're going to make. It's just how much can you push forward against yourself and the world, you know, the world around you. That's really good.
I feel like that's a byproduct. Like, obviously you put in the effort, you're going to get stronger physically. You put in the effort, you're going to make some money, you know, but it all starts with your ability to overcome and your ability to almost accept the uncomfortable, accept that pain, you know. And I got a quote also. It's like, you know, strength is developed when you have the ability to manage pain. And for that, you know, I think about it as like, especially even in the weight room, you look at it, right? It could be straightforward in the sense where if you want to get optimal growth, you have to go through a little bit of pain, right? So you got to be able to adapt. Same thing from a mental standpoint. So with that, like I always live through that moniker, and I'm thinking about myself, like what can I do today to put myself in those uncomfortable situations? Almost like a Goggins style of approach, man. Man, that guy's crazy, but I understand him, you know. I understand people that have to get to that point, man. They have to get to the point of failure in order for them to evolve. So
that's a good way for me to ask you. Like, one of our good questions that we have on here is, what is your favorite failure? And favorite is just the word I picked. It could be the most impactful failure, but what has been a failure that determined a fork in the road for you, that every now and then you just remind yourself, like, I got through that. This changed me. It's going to change.
There's actually two of them, right? Because it was the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life, right? And again, something I really never said on in public, but yeah, I was actually, it's the first time, guys. So here we go. But I was actually sitting in a jail cell at 17, 16 years old. And I said to myself, man, I'll never put myself in a position to be here again, you know. And I made the decision right then and there to change the way I thought, to change my way of moving around in life, you know, the way I treat people, you know, my decisions that I make on a daily basis. You know, I was doing the right things as far as putting my head down and working hard for things, but I also was making bad decisions on the other end. So it was a give and take, you know. I was 50-50 playing from the field. I was on the fence, right? When I made a decision to jump over the fence and really go after it is really what I started to evolve. And then the second one, you know, last year, I lost both my parents within a 3-month span. My father died about 3 months before my mother died, My father died very sudden, right? He had an esophageal bleed and showed up to the house. My mother called me at 5 a.m. She said that, get over here, he's bleeding everywhere. We got to take him to the hospital. So I got there, there's blood all over the place. They already took him to the hospital. Once I got there, he was dead on arrival. So I didn't really get to say anything to him. At that time, they both were going through a tough situation, battling certain types of addictions. And then my mother died of lupus, like just deteriorated her whole body, and she made bad decisions after that. Again, addicted to pain medicine, so lost her. Again, that was a little bit, not that losing a parent is easy, but it was a little easier for me because I knew that it was her time that she wanted to go, but overcoming that and then just kind of keeping, I know it sounds bad, but keeping it moving, keep moving forward. And I went to the funeral. Right after that, I had guys I had to train, so I went right back to work, and that's where I knew, like, mentally I'm calloused, right? And mentally I can get over anything that I need to, you know what I'm saying? As long as I have a higher power of understanding, I can look to a higher power too as well, and know that no matter what happens, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna be successful no matter what.
Yeah, I like that, because the fact that you can understand that, it brings a higher level of knowledge. One of those failures was on your part, on your choice, and one of them is not a failure. It was just onset onto you because of the family that you were born into, and that's what happened. That's the story of how it played out, and that's not your fault. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that you consciously did. So being able to handle both sides of the coin is an amazing thing, because we're not in charge of the things that happen. We can't say to make it happen or not. Even if you tried the hardest to be as most successful as you can be, I've seen people do that and also run themselves into the ground.
Yeah.
It just, we never know, right? And I like that, because you have something that you can't just like train into. It's something that's been given to you. So that's pretty amazing. Have you been able to foresee any of these failures, as far as like just your own, like, let's say you had a failure in business or a failure, like something with an athlete? Have you been able to foresee that? I know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you feel it coming, and it comes.
It's gonna come no matter what. I mean, like, I know that it's inevitable. Things happen. You got successes, you got failures, and I almost look forward to it, man, to be honest with you, because now I know, with all the failures that I have, there's a huge amount of growth that comes from that. You got to put yourself at rock bottom in order for yourself to grow, right? So right at, at the base level, when everything, you're at your lowest point, you only got one way to go, right? Can't go down anymore. So now we got to go up. So at that point, I know exactly what I need to do. And it gives me a sense of I guess, passion, excitement, because I'm just like, all right, now it's time to put up or shut up. Your back's against the wall. What are you going to do now, Phil? Let's make this shit happen. And so for that, I look forward to those times, man. I love the successes. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't bask in glory or anything of that nature. Like, when Dustin beat Connor, I was super happy, but I was more so happy for him. And I was happy for the fact that, like, watching somebody at his level go through such like trials and turbulations of like his whole entire career, and then succeed, and his power is personified. And I can utilize that too as well in my own right.
Right. That's
With that, go ahead.
No, that's the fight in the dog. At the end of the day, it's just the fight in the dog. It's some people give up too easy, and things are gonna always get in your way. And I tell the athletes all the time that come in and they're like, "Oh, but I got homework and I got this and my girlfriend this and my girl and this and whatever, and I couldn't cook this morning." It's like, all right, then I guess as an athlete, let's say on the athlete's world, it's like, you're not gonna win. That's not how you're gonna win. On the business side, I don't know my numbers. I didn't do my financials, and okay, well, good. Okay, you'll be okay. You'll be all right. But all right, it's not a winning effort. So
yeah, that's where you can definitely see where things will go downhill. Like when the
Yeah.
guys are not willing to put out the effort. Like I can deal with you just not being physically gifted. I can deal with you just not having the skill set. But when you can't put out effort, I don't know what to do with you then at that point. You know, there's only so much I can try to motivate you and inspire you and lead you in the right direction, give you, a strategic approach to things. But if you don't go after it, if you don't attack it, and you don't put intent towards it, there's really nothing we can do from there.
Yeah. I like that because a lot of people get themselves down or things happen to them and they don't have that. What you just said is the inspiration, which comes from within. You can try to motivate them all you want, but it's in them at the end of the day. When you feel that you have this lack of inspiration, if ever, let's say that I remember you went through your surgery and I remember you've gone through your things when you are at the lowest and let's say you're going through a training slump that you're like, I just don't want to train this week or anything. What have you found that works best for you to get you out of that slump? Is it time? Is it throwing yourself into another challenge?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's finding another way to compete. I think, and compete with myself. Right now I'm looking to do a triathlon. So like taking it from the other side of the spectrum, man. I've
Wow.
done strength sports, obviously did MMA, but this is something that I've never done, and I'm not going for like a sprint triathlon. I'm going for the full Olympic triathlon, and I had conversations with people like, why don't you just do the sprint one? Or why don't you just do like, I know that that's not going to be enough. Even if I come in first, I know it's not going to be enough. I'm like, I got to put myself in a position to where like, even if I don't finish first, it's not that. It's really not that. At the end of the day, I'm trying to prove to myself and I'm trying to put myself in the position. Now, I think that's the way I get over things, man. Like I'm always inspired. I don't think there's ever a day where I'm not inspired to do what I need to do. There is times where I'm pretty fatigued. I don't like to say the word tired, but I am
Right.
fatigued, you know. And those are days that you have to just push forward, man. Like it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen more so that than you feeling better about yourself, like feeling good. This days feels good. And very seldom do your days feel good because you're always grinding, right? I don't look at the scoreboard a lot. There's
Right.
there's like plenty of times I could and be like, oh man, I did great. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and take a vacation. The only time I'll take a vacation, right, is if I know my wife needs it. I know my kids need it because they need a break and they need me, right? But if it's just me, I'm all in, right? I'm going, right? But I know that at this point, being a father, being a husband, I need to give them their time. So
Yeah.
I think that when I get inspired, it's more so about, what I have going for me. We have guys that are fighting in 3 weeks. We have guys that are fighting in 6 weeks. Then on top of that, I have business, aspirations that I want to,
Right.
accomplish at this year. We're moving into an expanded facility. Like we got 5,000 square feet we're building next door, with the 10,000 square feet that we have now, with the online stuff, we want to expand the mentorship, right? I have 700 coaches that I mentor online from around the world. I want that to 1,000. I want 1,000 plus. I want to be able to go back overseas. I want to be able to do these things. And I can only do that if I stay working, if I stay in going forward and doing what I do. And that's really what inspires me, is like the opportunities that will come, working
Right.
with celebrities, working with elite athletes. And it only comes, trust me, it wasn't an overnight thing. Everybody seems to think that. It wasn't. Like I started my gym at 22 years old. I had no business sense whatsoever. I really started it because I needed to make a little bit of extra money and I didn't want to pay another gym, like as an independent contractor. I didn't want to pay rent. I was like, man,
Right.
if I'm going to pay rent, I might as well just open up my own spot.
Right.
So it's really just a fact of like, I just needed to make some money. And then all of a sudden I started getting more and more people. And then things started to grow. So the inspiration of those people wanting to be there and trusting in me and giving me feedback, like I inspire them and I motivate them to get better. That helps me get up out of bed and keep moving forward. That helps me, with every waking moment that I have, you look to get more value out of what my situation is, right? So I'm always learning. I'm always looking to find out new information. I'm conversing with people that I trust and I respect. I bring on people just like yourself with podcasts. I like to talk, I like to converse with those individuals to get a glimpse into their mind a little bit.
Right.
Because it goes hand in hand, and then from there, it kind of, with those people that you, again, surround yourself with, it kind of bleeds off.
Yeah, I like it because it's not every day that you find somebody that can be accountable to themselves, but also very accountable to other people, which is what's keeping the fire on. It was keeping the fire on in you and never lose inspiration. And I tell people all the time, like, look, one of the biggest investments you could do is to hire a coach. If you hire a coach, you're probably going to be more accountable to the coach than to yourself, because a lot of people just fail on their own. You know what I'm saying? But you seem to have both, which is really good.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Like, I'll definitely, like, if it's something that I know that I'm not an expert in, I'm going to hire a coach, because I know that I need to be an athlete at times too, as well. Like, Kyle Dobbs is a guy, he's actually in my gym right now. He's a guy that came from Missouri.
Right.
He was one of my coaches for a long time, getting me back to sport, because we can always, bounce ideas off of each other, but he holds me there accountable. Not like I need it, but it is good to have, because again, it's almost like a team, right? So I'm a team guy, like, from the core, right? Even when I was fighting, I always had a team around me, right? I had American Top Team, I had Dean Thomas, I had all my teammates, so even in an individual sport, it's still a team effort, because you need those individuals to help get you to where you need to be, and vice versa. So yeah, I mean, I think if you don't think that you're too good for a coach. That's one thing. It's like, I feel like I'm pretty high up there as far as knowledge and as far as experience, as from a coaching standpoint, but I'm not afraid, or I'm not too big-headed to think that I can't hire a coach. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
don't ever think that. And then also find some mentors, find some people that has been there and done that, and can give you true value. And that's what I've been able to do, and it's not just, to a point of like you not believing in yourself. That's not it at all. It's more so about, giving yourself the opportunity to learn from other people that's been there and done that. And this way you can level up faster, right?
That's
because
life.
it's all about speed.
Yeah,
for sure.
I love that, man. And let's put Phil on every cage in the world, every cage, because that's your passion. If you had to put a banner on every cage where fighters are practicing right now in the world, and that banner can only say one thing, like just one statement, that's Daru's message to everyone that's fighting out there, everyone that's an MMA fighter, jiu-jitsu, anything like, or even every gym. What's the message that is that legacy for you?
So I wear these dog tags around my neck, right? And one is symbolic to my father, who was in the Navy. But more so, it's two sayings that I have, right? And the one I've already told you, which is strength comes from your ability to manage pain. And the other one is something that's more so along the lines of how I feel each and every day, which is power is established when challenges are met. So where I feel is that if you want to be a person of power, of high power, you have to constantly challenge yourself. So don't go in there looking for an easy sparring session. Don't go in there knowing that you're going to bypass the harder guys. Because I know how guys think. I've been in the game.
Right.
They'll go in there. There's probably 20, 30 guys in sparring, depending on the gym size. And they'll go to the guys that they've been sparring with. They'll go to the guys that they know they can handle. And they'll take rounds off. And sometimes it's a strategic approach, and I understand that. But there is some times where you're going to have to put yourself through the shit. You're going to have to go against a guy that's possibly can take your head off and put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, because in the fight, that's what it's going to be. That guy's going to take your head off. He's going to try to kill you, and that goes through everything. That's not just in fighting, right? That's in life, So like, yeah, there's some times where like I'll park my car, a quarter mile, half a mile down the road just to go ahead and walk into the store, because I'm like, oh, this is easy. Even though there's parking spots right in the front. I'm glad. Let me make this a little bit more difficult.
So power is established when challenges are met. That's you, man. That's perfect. Of everything that we talked about, that kind of puts it all together. And it's not a position of power of like a self push up to be like higher than everybody else or more powerful to be able to manage everybody. I understand it from your position of power is that power as in the essence and the fire that you have inside of you. How much can you push against whatever is pushed against you?
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, it's self-empowerment. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, well, I have the power to succeed no matter what, because I put myself in these positions each and every day that I know that I can overcome any type of obstacle.
Right.
So that's really what it is, man. It's not, there's no real like crazy
There's no
terminology.
fancy hack. There's no biohack.
Nah, there's nothing.
You're not gonna give me some like spinach drink that's gonna make me fight better.
Nah,
Come on, man.
no potions.
Nah, man.
Nothing, man. Honestly, the best guys that I've trained, man, don't even take any supplements, man. They don't even look for the quick fix. You know, they got guys now that like are sponsored and they'll go with that. But like at the end of the day, man, it's just grit. It's just hard work, man. Like
Fighting
real hard work. And then just being smart, you know, I think smart does play a great role in your ability to be powerful, but also to evolve and get better. Because yeah, you have to train hard and you have to train smart. So let me go ahead and reiterate that. Like there's ways that you can always progress, push yourself where you need to, and then get yourself to the point where, okay, I'm always getting better. I'm always learning. I'm always growing. And you know, sometimes it's going to be harder than others, but that's when true character becomes, you know, to the forefront.
I like it. So just to end it here, because I know you got to go. The message that I understand from Phil that's putting out there is you have to make sure that to become the best that you can be, you cannot be afraid to throw yourself into the fire and to throw yourself into any challenge that's out there, because that's really what's going to test you and bring out those changes that you want in your life. I like that, Phil. I mean, I really appreciate the fact that you gave me the time, that you've been super humble since the day that I started writing to you years ago. What you're doing over there is amazing. I have to take a drive over there. It's not that far. I got to go over there. And just, man, I can't wait to see you suffer through a triathlon. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be saying, yep, that's the challenge you wanted to be in.
Yeah. Oh, can't wait. Then I'm going to go to an Ironman. I can't wait for that too.
I like it. I like it, man. Hey, Phil, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful day. Oh, by the way, what's the website? What's the Instagram?
Yeah, so darustrong.com, and my Instagram is darustrong also. So check me out.
All right. Take care, man. Appreciate your time, brother.
Appreciate
Later.
it, man.